Take a look at the nearest pencil you can find. There's a good chance it's painted bright yellow. Not blue, not black, not wood-colored, but yellow. It's so common that most of us never even question it. But here's the strange part. Pencils weren't always yellow. In fact, the color choice has nothing to do with writing, grip, or durability. So why yellow? Who decided that this humble, everyday tool should look like a tiny stick of sunshine? Today we're diving into the surprisingly global story behind one of the most overlooked design choices in history: why pencils are painted yellow. Right here, on History of Simple Things. To understand the color, we first need to understand the pencil itself. The modern pencil traces its origins back to the 1500s, when a massive deposit of pure graphite was discovered in Borrowdale, England. At the time, people thought it was a form of lead, which is why we still call the core of a pencil lead today, even though it contains no actual lead. Early pencils were simple. Graphite sticks were wrapped in string or encased between pieces of wood. Over time, manufacturers refined the design, and by the 18th and 19th centuries, pencil making had become a serious craft, especially in places like Germany. One key detail shaped everything that came next. Not all graphite is created equal. The highest quality graphite, smooth, dark, and perfect for writing, came from China, and this is where the story of the yellow pencil really begins. By the late 1800s, pencil manufacturers were competing fiercely. Brands wanted a way to stand out and signal quality without customers even needing to test the pencil, so they turned to color. At the time, China was associated with high-quality graphite, and it was also linked to prestige and luxury in Western markets. One color in particular symbolized this: yellow. In Chinese culture, yellow has long been associated with royalty, power, and honor. It was historically reserved for emperors, making it one of the most prestigious colors imaginable. For pencil manufacturers, this was a golden opportunity, literally. One of the first companies to capitalize on this idea was L&C Hartmuth, an Austrian pencil maker. In 1890, they introduced a new line of premium pencils called the Koh-i-Noor, named after a famous diamond. To emphasize their high quality, they painted these pencils bright yellow, signaling that they used the finest Chinese graphite. It worked. Consumers began to associate yellow pencils with superior quality. Even if they didn't know the exact reason, the color became a visual shortcut for "this is a good pencil." Once one company proved that yellow worked, others quickly followed. Competitors didn't want to be left behind, so they started painting their pencils yellow too, even if their graphite wasn't from China. Over time, the color stopped being a strict indicator of origin or quality and became more of an industry standard. Yellow pencils were simply what people expected to see. There's also a practical side to it. Yellow is highly visible. It stands out on desks, in classrooms, and inside bags. If you drop a yellow pencil, it's easier to spot than a darker one. That might not have been the original intention, but it certainly helped reinforce the choice. In the United States especially, yellow pencils became the norm. By the early 20th century, they dominated the market, and the trend spread globally. Today, even though pencils come in every color imaginable, yellow remains the most iconic. What's fascinating is how the meaning of the yellow pencil has faded over time. Most people today have no idea that the color once signaled high-quality Chinese graphite or imperial prestige. It's just a pencil color. This happens more often than you might think. Design choices that start with a specific purpose gradually become traditions. Over time, we stop questioning them. The yellow pencil is a perfect example. It began as a clever marketing strategy, rooted in global trade and cultural symbolism. But today it's simply part of everyday life, something so familiar it becomes invisible. In today's world, the color of a pencil doesn't really tell you much about its quality. Manufacturing processes have improved dramatically, and high-quality graphite can be sourced and produced in many places around the world. Brands now use color more for branding and aesthetics than for signaling materials. You'll find pencils in black, pastel shades, metallic finishes, and even custom designs. Still, the classic yellow pencil refuses to disappear. Walk into almost any school or office and you'll see it. It's become more than just a design, it's a cultural icon. In a way, it represents the idea of writing itself: simple, reliable, and universal. Here's a detail most people overlook. The classic yellow pencil is almost always hexagonal. That six-sided shape isn't random. It was designed to prevent pencils from rolling off desks, especially in busy classrooms or slanted surfaces. Before this became standard, round pencils would constantly roll away, which was frustrating and inefficient. What's interesting is how the shape and color became linked over time. As yellow pencils grew more popular, manufacturers paired them with the practical hexagonal design, and the two features stuck together in people's minds. Today, when you picture a typical pencil, you're probably imagining both, a yellow body and a hexagonal shape, without even realizing why. It's another example of how small design choices quietly become the norm. So, why are pencils painted yellow? It all comes down to a mix of history, marketing, and symbolism. In the late 1800s, manufacturers wanted to highlight their use of high-quality Chinese graphite. They chose yellow because it represented prestige and royalty in Chinese culture. One successful product set the trend, and soon the entire industry followed. What started as a smart branding decision turned into a global standard, one that has lasted for over a century. And that's the beauty of simple things. Even the most ordinary object on your desk can carry a story that stretches across continents, cultures, and centuries. So the next time you pick up a yellow pencil, remember, you're holding a tiny piece of history, painted in a color that once symbolized emperors. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.